Hello again, and welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs. My name is Jeffrey Davis. Our next guest, another entrepreneur, first time in this category, and I'm pretty excited about this category, Judith Sonner of Newton Biofeedback.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Well, tell us about Newton Biofeedback.
Well, actually, I've been practicing in Newton for 15 years, but I've had a practice on Cape Cod for 25 years. And I got into doing biofeedback because I suffered migraines horribly from the age 11. And I took every drug there was possible. And if I actually took all the drugs that I was given, I'd probably be hit by a car. So somewhere around age 32, somebody told me about a headache clinic that did biofeedback.
Right. So you didn't study it at that point?
At that point, I didn't study it. And I went there, and although I didn't like the place because they had fluorescent lights, as I notice right here in the studio.
Yeah, I don't like fluorescent lights.
They're terrible for migraines.
Right.
But
I get tired of client meetings when I have to go for hours into fluorescent rooms.
It really hurts your eyes.
I want to go to sleep.
That's right, and it gives you headaches. Anyway, the point is that the biofeedback helped. No drugs, nothing that had to put me out in a dark room forever. And I started to think, wow, I was already a licensed clinical social worker, and I thought I need to use this in my practice because I see people with migraines or gastrointestinal problems or anxiety, and this could really be very helpful. So I suffered for way too many years. That took, days and weeks and years out of my life. And I could actually have a life without a headache.
So is everything that you do as a clinical social worker now related to biofeedback, or just a portion of your practice?
A portion of my practice. My practice is really in stress-related disorders. So I will utilize biofeedback. I will utilize neurofeedback. I will utilize hypnosis and cognitive behavioral therapy, because it's one thing to identify what the problem is, then it's another thing to change the behaviors and the physiology that might be exacerbating the problem.
So let me ask you, I walk into your office and I'm going to get some form of biofeedback treatment. What does that mean?
Okay, the first thing that happens when you come into my office is that you fill out a ridiculous amount of forms that people absolutely hate. However, the information that we get is so valuable, and they end up saying, oh my God, I didn't even know this stuff about myself. And they see how much some of those things contribute to the conditions that they're suffering from. The next thing is I do an evaluation, a physiological evaluation. I hook people up to sensors, and it's connected to a computer so that they can see their physiology on the computer. Meaning, I measure muscle tension, I measure heart rate, I measure hand temperature, blood pressure, heart rate, everything about your physiology. Then I give you a mental stress test, which is a better indicator of how your body responds to stress than a physical stress test. When people look at the screen, and at first they're just watching what's happening. They don't really know. When we go over the evaluation afterwards, they say, oh, I didn't realize I did that while you were asking me those questions. Oh, I didn't know that my body responded that way. And when they start to understand that when their bodies respond a certain way, it makes those symptoms worse. Once you know the behavior, you can change your behavior and replace it with a more effective behavior. Over time, which is sometimes it's a short period of time, sometimes it's longer, depending upon how long somebody suffered with a symptom, they improve. Not only do they improve, but other things about how their whole lives are improved because they're not sitting with a headache. They're not sitting with a stomach problem or anxiety or insomnia or high blood pressure. It goes on. All of these things really impact our lives.
If other people wanted to meet you, how would they find you?
I have a website, which is newtonbiofeedback.com. And my email address is judith@newtonbiofeedback.com.